Next topic is about the magnetic circuit, where it's giving the information about how a from the electric field intensity how to get the equations in terms of a magnetization magnetic equation from the electric field intensity in terms of potential, what we taken in the previously the same thing in terms of a magnetic field how it is going for that information is giving this topic about the magnetic circuit. In this section, we are going to discussing about the fundamental techniques that is involved in the class of magnetic problems, where it is known as a magnetic circuits, and also some of the circuits analysis we are going for in this case. Then the important difference lies in the nonlinear nature of the ferromagnetic portion of the magnetic circuit. What is there in a linear portion, we in the previous cases we told that it's a uniform field what we are going to be taking, but if it is not in a uniform field, what might the equation is going for. Then the method which we are going to be adopting with those of the nonlinear electric circuits, with some of the examples for here it is taken as diodes, thermistors, and incandescent filaments are some of the nonlinear elements. For this, what might be the magnetic equations? The well, we are going to deriving the part the equation what we are going to be taking. The equations as almost we are going looking towards our electric field intensity and with the potential relationship. The equation is going to be E is equal to minus del of V. The scalar magnetic potential, which is already we taken, that is the equation in terms of analogous relation is going to be, instead of E here is going to be H, that is going to be equals to minus del Vm, where the Vm what it is indicating here is of a magnetomotive force, that is MMF. In the previous case, in terms of your electric field, we are telling as EMF. In terms of magnetic field, we will be telling as a magnetomotive force, or as a MMF. This in terms of acknowledging the analogy to the electromotive force, or as the EMF, it's almost similar to that. Due to the magnetic field, what is the force is going to be exerting? That is of our magnetomotive force. The units for the MMF is that nothing but our amperes, but it is customary to recognize that the coils, what's going for, with many turns are often employed by using of the term amperes turns. Instead of amperes, we are going to be mentioning as amperes turns due to the turns how many going for. Then the remember that the no current may flow in any region in which Vm is going to be defined. It's not that a current should be there. Then the electric potential difference between the point A and B, we already know the equation, that is VAB is going to be integration A to B E dot dl. Then in terms of it is in terms of electric field intensity, in terms of magnetic field intensity is going to be almost similar, but instead of VAB we are going for magnetomotive force, for it is a VMAB. Equation is going to be equals to integration A to B H dot dl. This is what the equation will be getting. Then by using of the Ohm's law, the electric circuit has the point form. In terms of point form, the current density is going to be equals to, we know this, conductivity times of electric field intensity. In terms of magnetic flux density, what's the equation we already in the previous case we taken, that is of B is going to be equals to mu times of H. Then finding the total current, then I is going to be equals to integration S J dot D S. This is the equation. Then corresponding operation, it is necessary to determine the total magnetic flux flowing through the cross section of the magnetic circuit. Therefore, the pi is going to be, is it total magnetic flux? Here it's going to be, that's going to be equals to surface integration B dot ds. It's a total magnetic flux. Observe here, magnetic flux is represented by pi. Then when we are going to define a resistance, it is the ratio of the potential difference and the current. Therefore, I can write the equation in terms of from the Ohm's law, that is V is going to be I into R, and defining a reluctance as the ratio of the magnetomotive force to the total flux. In terms of a reluctance, it's taken as R. A different style here it is represented. that is going to be Vm is going to be pi into R. That is R is going to be equals to what? Potential magnetomotive force to the total flux. What is going for Vm by pi? I can write it off. Where the reluctance is measured in terms of amperes turns per Webinar. Sorry, Weber. Amperes turns per Weber. In resistors which are made of a linear isotropic homogeneous material, the condition is of linear, isotropic and also homogeneous material of conductivity is of sigma and have a uniform cross section of area of S and with a length L. Then the total resistance is going to be the what is the length it is having to the conductivity with a surface area. That is therefore R is going to be equals to D divided by sigma S. Then if you have taking too much knowledge further so that we can define that a linear isotropic homogeneous magnetic material of length D and a uniform cross section S, then the total reluctance is going to be R is going to be equals to D divided by mu times S. Instead of sigma, here it is going to be a mu. The only such materials which to which we shall commonly apply this relationship is in terms of a air. We can substitute that. Then let us consider a analog of a source voltage in an electric circuit. Then a closed integral of E is going to be equals to 0. Therefore, closed integration E dot dl is going to be equals to 0. Then, in other words, the Kirchhoff's voltage law states that the rise in potential through the source is exactly equal to the fall in potential through the load. The expression for magnetic phenomena where it's going to be equals to closed integration H dot dl is going to be equals to I total. This is for the closed line integral is not going to be equals to 0 since the total current linked by the path is usually obtained just by using of a current to flow through the n number of coils like your transformers one coils to another coil how it is going for. Therefore, the equation is going to be instead of I can write here it is of taking the consideration of number of turns. Therefore, here it is going to be equation as n into I. This is the equation. Then in an electric circuit, the voltage source is a part of the closed path. In the magnetic circuit, what we are taking electric circuit voltage source. About your easier subject you learned, you are taking one supply only like your voltage and the remaining is of which is consisting of your resistor, capacitor, inductance. So design what you are going to be considering. That's what he are telling. A voltage source is a part of the closed path. In the magnetic circuit, the current carrying coil will surround or link to the magnetic circuit. In tracing the magnetic circuit, what we are going for, which is not able to identify a pair of terminals at which the magnetomotive force is going to be applied. It's not possible when we are going to take the circuital analysis. Then the analogy is closer here to pair a coupled circuit, just we are taking, in which the induced voltage is going to be existing. Just we are taking an assumption. Then let us try out that some of these ideas what it is taken a simple magnetic circuit in order to avoid the complications what is going for of a ferromagnetic materials at this time. We are assuming that air core toroid with our it's taken as 500 turns and a cross sectional is of some example taken here 6 centimeter square, a minimum mean radius of 15 centimeter and a coil current of 4 amps we taken here. Then the magnetic field is confined to the interior to the toroid, and if we considering a closed path of the magnetic circuit, then the mean radius what is going to be we are going to link with a 2000 ampere turns, that is dot T. Therefore, Vm of source is going to be equals to what now? 2000 amperes turn. Then the field in the toroid is not quite in uniform. In this, it's not in a uniform which is going far. Then assuming that all practical purpose and calculate the total reluctance, what might be equation is going to be R is going to be equals to divided by nu times of S, that's going to be equals to, based on the given parameters I can substitute here as 2 pi of your 0.15 because 15 centimeters is given, divided by mu, you know that the 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 into S is area is given, that is 6 centimeter square, that's 46 into 10 raised to minus 4. Then the equation is going to be 1.25 into 10 raised to 9 ampere turn per Weber. Then total flux is going to be Vms divided by R. Then substitute for that, you will be getting as 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 6 Webers. And this value what we got, it's a total flux is in error by less than 1 by 4%. What we taken here. Observe your 10 raised to minus 6, which error we got, it's a very less in comparison with the value obtained when exact distribution of flux over a cross section is used. The what the error we taken, it is less. Hence, our flux density is going to be pi by S. Substitute the value. Then you're getting as 1.2.67 into 10 raised to minus 3 Tesla. Then H is going to be our magnetic field intensity B by mu. Then the you will be getting as 2120 amperes turn per meter. Based on this, what its analysis we are going for? We are applying a Ampere circuit law directly in the symmetrical problem what we are taking. Therefore, h pi 2 pi r is going to be equals to ni. Then h pi is going to be ni divided by 2 pi r. Use the equation and substitute. You will be getting the almost same. 2120 amperes per meter. This is the mean radius. At mean radius, we got the value we got. Then our magnetic circuit, in this example what we taken, it does not give us any opportunity to find what is the magnetomotive force across the different elements in the circuit what we are going for. Then for this, only the type of material what we are, which are type we are going to be using of. Then in on the analogous electric circuit, what we learned in your AC subject is a single source and single resistor. Right? We are not going for any magnetic what's they having. Then we would make a loop just as long as the above analysis what we taken in the previously. If the found that a current density and the electric field intensity, total current, resistance, and of the source voltage, what it is consisting of. Then next we will going for a more interesting and more practical problems arises when a ferromagnetic materials are present in the circuit. When you are going to place your motor along with your resistor, along with your source, along with your current elements, then what it may happen? Then let us begin a considering a relationship between a B and H curve. In our we call that curve as a hysteresis curve. At a hysteresis law, we know in the physics what it's going to be, where our electric flux density and also about our magnetic field, how the variation is going to be in between when the graph we are going to be plotting. The same thing we are going to learn here. We assuming that the establishing a curve between of B and H for simple sample of ferromagnetic material which is completely demagnetized. If it is demagnetized means what is your B and H? It's going to be a zero value only, right? That's what here it's telling. Then what we are going for? We are applying the magnetic motive force. The flux densities are also going on increasing, but it is not in a linear fashion. That's what it's telling us. It is not a non-linear. We can write it off. The figure what it's showing for us. Observe here. It's going on increasing. Our flux density is going on increasing with respect to the magnetic field. That's what here telling. Near the what's the data it's taken. Then after H reaches the value about 10, 100. Observe here. After 100, again a peak it's going for. After 100 amperes turn ratio divided by meter, the flux density rises more slowly and becomes a saturation. Above it's going on increasing, and observe here It's almost saturating. Saturate when H is a several hundreds of your amperes turn of per meter with respect to H, that's telling. Then having a reached practical saturation after this, what is going for? The figure is showing our, this is what? Hysteresis loop, what's going for? It's going on and reaching to some point and again coming back suddenly, dropping down. Where we continuing with our experiment at a point x by reducing the value of h. After this, what is happening? The effects of hysteresis begin to show. What's the it's going for? And we do not react to our original curve. What is got in the previously, we are not able to get the same. Even after h is 0, even after h is going to be a 0, observe here, it's the value of br, it's going on. H is 0, B is going to be equals to BR, and the flux density, this remnant flux density is going to be remaining there only. And as H is reversed, then brought back to the 0, and the complete cycle traced several times. The same, what the hysteresis is going for, it's going increasing, coming back down, again increasing, coming back, increasing, coming back. It's the whole loop is going on, continuing until it's the process of our magnetic and our electric field intensity of that. So electric based on the circuit what you designed. Then a loop will go in for, then the MMF required to reduce the flux density to 0 is identified, that is going to be taken as HC. When it should be 0 means that is taken as a HC. Observe here, where is the hole? When it your HC is going to be 0 at HC value, it may be positive or negative, it depends. Then the force, the cursive force, what's taken here, and smaller the value of H, smaller the hysteresis loop are obtained, and locus of tip is about same as origin of the magnetization. This is what it's about. This is about a magnetic circuit, how it is going for. Just you have to go with the equivalenting. We have to define what is your resistance, potential, and the H value equation. Then about our reluctance equation. Based on that, we are going to be our Ampere circuit law we are going to use here. Then about our Kirchhoff law we used and taken a small example here. Then we go on the how it is going to be varying with respect to graphs we explained. This is all about our magnetic circuit. It mainly the working of magnetic circuit, it depends on the hysteresis, the loop, how it is going to be increasing and decreasing our magnetic field and also of the electric field, the flux with the magnetic field intensity. Next part is about inductance and mutual inductance. What might be the equations here it is going for? Then inductance is the last of the three familiar parameters in the circuit theory. We know inductance, whatever the initial subject, we gone through of what do you mean by inductance, how we are going to be calculating of those values and all those things. Then we are defining a mutual in the, it's not about the telling or in the, they previously they taken. Then it is the ratio of the potential difference between the two equipotential surfaces of the conducting material to the total current crossing their equipotential surface. This is what our resistance. Then the resisting material to the total current crossing either equipotential surface. Sorry, I am repeating the same thing. The resistance is the function of the conductor geometry and also of the conductive only. The capacitance was defined, means it indicating all the basic terms, is defined in the same chapter what's taken, that is the ratio of the total charge on either of the equipotential conducting surface to the potential difference between the surface. Then capacitance is the function of only the geometry. It depends on the how much the area it is going to be covering of a metal. Geometry of the two conducting surfaces and the permittivity of the dielectric medium between or a surrounding them. Then interpretation of the resistance and capacitance, we will go with the next topic about our inductance. Defining the inductance, first we going for concepts like our flux linkage, how it is going for. Let us consider a toroid of n turns in which the current is of I produces a total flux of pi. Then we are assuming that the flux links are n circles each of the n turns. Where it is going for, it is linking with all the n number of turns. Then each of n turns links to the total flux. Therefore, the flux linkage, that is equation is going to be n into pi, is defined as the product of the number of turns n and the flux pi linking each of them. From this you can write the theory when this question is asked. It's just about resistance and capacitance they explain. No need of those things. Then and the flux pi linking for each them. Then for a coil having a single turn, then the flux linkage is going to be equal to the total flux. Observe here, what is the definition of flux linkage? Is defined as the product of number of turns with the flux, that is pi, linking each of them. And for a coil, is if it is having a single turn, only one turn if it is having, then the flux linkage is going to be equal to about the total flux only. Then we define a inductance or a self-inductance as the ratio of the total flux linkage to the current. Therefore, L is going to be n pi by I. In the previous cases, in our previous semester, you will be using of the equations, but here it is defining how it is going for. That's it. Then the current I is flowing in the n number of turns of a coil, produces a total flux of pi and n into pi flux linkages, where we are going to be assuming that the movement of the flux links which are each term, means the current what is flowing, it has to move throughout the n number of coils, the turns what is taken down. This definition is applicable to the magnetic media which are linear. If you are going for non-linear magnetic materials, no, it's not going to be applying. So that the flux is proportional to the current. If the ferromagnetic materials are present, then there is no single definition. We can't tell that the definition what we taken the previously, we can tell of that. No single definition of inductance which is useful in all cases, or else we strict our attention to the linear materials. Then the unit of inductance is what? If I ask, you will tell about Henry only, right? The equivalent Henry is equivalent to what? The Weber turns per amperes. Then what we are going for? We are going to calculate the inductance per meter length of a coaxial cable. Of inner radius is of A and outer radius is of taken as a B. Again a cable we are going to be taking. Then what is the pi value? Total flux is going to be mu naught I into D divided by 2 pi. Almost in the previous problems whatever it's taken, it's almost the same equation, right? The same L ln B by A. Then obtaining the inductance rapidly for length D, it's going to be L is going to be equals to, observe here, L is going to be mu naught I is not there, D divided by 2 pi ln B by A in terms of Henry. Then or else we can tell and per meter basis, L is going to be mu naught divided by 2 pi ln B by A. There is nothing but Henry per meter. If in case the n number of turns are going to be 1, then I can use of this equation. And all the flux links are all of a current only. Then in a problem of a toroidal coil of n turns and current is of I, what is taken? It's a not in figure. I will show this. B pi, then equation is going to be mu naught n I divided by 2 pi rho. If the dimensions of the cross section are small compared with the mean radius of the toroid, then it is taken as rho naught. Then the flux, total flux is going to be pi is going to be equals to mu naught n into I into s divided by 2 pi rho naught. Then where S is the cross sectional area and multiplying the total flux by capital N, then we have the flux linkages and dividing by I, then the inductance is going to be mu naught n square S divided by 2 pi rho naught. This is the equation you will be getting of. Then once again we are going for assuming that the all the flux linking to the all the terms, and this is the good assumption that for the toroidal coil of many turns packed closely together, means the number of turns what it's taken, it is tightly enclosed, right, for that reason. Then the our toroid has the appreciable spacing in between of the turns, then a short part of the which might be here it's given. Observe here, if it is the distance it's having, then the flux linkages are no longer the product of the flux at the mean radius times the total number of turns. Then in order to obtain the total flux linkages, we must go for the coil on a turn by turn basis, means each individual turn we have to consider there. Then n pi of total is going to be equals to pi 1 pi 2 up to pi n. Therefore that is going to be equals to summation I is going to be equals to 1 to n pi I, where pi I is the flux linking in ith turn. Rather than doing this, we usually rarely experience the empirical quantities called as winding factors. Instead of going for this, we are focusing for the winding factors and pitch factors to adjust the basic formula what is we have taken. Then the equivalent definition for the inductance we can, in terms of energy, then we can write here as L is going to be 2 times WH divided by I square, where I is the total current flowing in the closed path and WH is the energy in the magnetic field produced by the current. From using of this equation, we can obtain a several other general expression for our inductance. Then equation is going to be we taken the first expression of a different where we can represent for the potential energy with WH. Therefore I can write, instead of WH I can write it in terms L is going to be volume integral of B dot H dV divided by I square. This is one expression. Then another expression is going to be, instead of B I can write by del cross of A, then L is going to be 1 by I square volume integral H dot del cross A dV. Then vector identity based on this equation, I can write the equation for this as L is going to be I1 divided by I square volume integral del dot A cross H dV plus volume integral A dot del cross H dV. The same equation is going for here. After applying the divergence theorem, the first integral and letting our del cross H of this part is going to be equals to J. Therefore, I can write the equation here. L is going to be 1 by I square integration with the surface. Our divergence theorem, if I am going to be applying, means from volume to I am going to shift towards our surface integration. Closed surface integration A cross H dot ds is plus, instead of del cross H I can write here as a J. A dot J into dV. Then a surface integration is going to be a 0, since the surface encloses the volume containing all the magnetic energy, and this requires that A and H should be 0. In the previous case we know this. In a closed path our magnetic field is going to be 0 only. And the bounding surface, therefore we left with inductance L is going to be equals to 1 divided by I square volume integral A dot J dV. This is what equation you will be getting of. Then the equation what it is taken, expresses the inductance in terms of an integral of the values of A and J at every point. Since a current density exists only within the conductor and the integration is going to be 0 at all points outside the conductor. If I am going to consider the outside the conductor, then it will be 0. And the vector magnetic potential need not to be determined here. It's not required for us. Then the vector potential is that which arises from the current J and any other current source contributing a vector potential field in the region of original current density is to be ignored for the present case. Then later if you can define for the mutual inductance. Then the vector magnetic potential A due to J equation I can write here as A is going to be equals to volume integration mu J divided by 4 pi R into dV. Then the inductance may therefore expressed more basically as a rather than a mutable double volume integral. Instead of that, L is going to be 1 divided by I square volume integral double time mu J divided by 4 pi R dV dot J into dV. This expression is similar. Integral expression is obtained by restricting our attention for the current elements of a small cross section for which J and dV must be replaced by I into dl, and the volume integral by the closed line integral. In terms of line integral equation, I can write the equation as L is going to be equals to 1 divided by I square closed integration double integration mu I dl divided by 4 pi R into I into dl. Therefore, it's going to be mu I square is going for I square will cancel off. Therefore, remaining is of mu divided by 4 pi closed integration double time dl by R into dl. You will get it. The equations what we taken of this and about this lies in their implication that the inductance is a function of distribution of the current in space or else a geometry of the conductor configuration. To obtain the original definition of inductance, next we are going for hypothesize the uniform current distribution in a filamentary conductor of a small cross section. Here it's going to be taken in terms of J dV. Instead that we are going for I into dl. Therefore, L is going to be 1 by I closed integration A dot dl. For a small cross section, dl may be taken along with the center of the filament. Therefore, applying the Stokes theorem, I can write the equation as L is going to be 1 by I surface integration del cross A dot ds. That is nothing but L is going to be 1 divided by I can write for this as B surface dot ds. Therefore, L is going to be equals to pi divided by I only. This is whole nothing but our pi. Then the flux, what will pi is portion of the total flux which passes through the any and every open surface whose perimeter is the filamentary current path. If we know that the filament makes an n identical turns about the total flux, and idealization which may be closely related in sometimes of the inductors, and closed line integral must consist of the n laps about the common path. Then L is going to be n into pi divided by I. Therefore, the flux pi is now the flux crossing any surface whose perimeter is the path occupied by the one of the n turns. The inductance of an n turn coil may still be obtained from the equation of this. Then if we realize that the flux is that which crosses the complicated surface whose perimeter consists of all the n turns. Use of any inductance expression what we taken in the previously for a true filamentary conductor where it is having a zero radius leads to an infinite value of the inductance regardless of this the configuration filament which is going for. Then near the conductor, Ampere circuit law shows that the magnetic field intensity varies inversely with the distance from the conductor, and a simple integration what's shown it is an infinite amount of energy and infinite amount of flux are going to be contained within any finite cylinder about the filament, and this is difficult to eliminate by specifying a small but finite filamentary radius. This is what the whole process is going for. Then the interior of any conductor also contains a magnetic flux, and this flux links to a variable fraction of a total current, and it is depending on its location, and these flux linkages leads to an internal inductance which must be combined with the external inductance to obtain the total inductance. Therefore, the internal inductance of a long straight wire of cross-sectional circular cross section and radius A and uniform current distribution is taken as LA. INT is going to be mu divided by 8 pi Henry per meter. Then we are telling about mutual inductance between circuits, that is 1 and 2, M12 in terms of mutual flux linkage. I can write here as M12 is going to be N2 pi 12 divided by I1, where our pi 12 is the flux produced by the I1 which links the path of the filamentary current I2, and N2 is the number of turns in the circuit 2. Then the mutual inductance therefore depends on the magnetic interaction between the two currents, with either current alone or the total energy stored in the magnetic field can be found in terms of the single inductance or else a self-inductance. With both currents having a non-zero values, the total energy is a function of the two self-inductance and mutual inductance. The equations are going to be M12 is going to be equals to 1 divided by I1 I2 volume integral B1 H2 dV. Then or else M12 is going to be equals to 1 divided by I1 I2 volume integral. This B I can write in terms of mu H1 dot H2 into dV. Therefore, the equation is going where B1 is the field resulting from I1 where your I2 is 0, and H2 is the field due to I2 where I1 is 0. Then I can write from the interchanging of the parameters, I can tell that M12 is going to be equals to M21. Means the mutual inductance is also measured in terms of henries, and the context is to allow us to differentiate it from the magnetization where it is represented by M. This is mutual inductance. Where we take in the magnetization, it is the capital M in the previous case. This is all about our inductance and also about the mutual inductance.